On February 22nd, 1943, 3 University of Munich students were arrested and convicted of high treason by a Nazi court. They had been found guilty of distributing anti-war, anti-Nazi leaflets on campus.
That which has arisen bravely from the pit can conquer half the globe with a pitiless destiny. But return it must to the abyss. Monstrous fears are threatening now. In vain will he resist, and all those who cling to him will follow him to ruin. Goethe, the awakening. Do you think Goethe knew? Did he foresee the rise of Hitler and the Nazis like the mystic Nostradamus? Goethe called Germany the tragic nation. Did he see the ruin that would happen? The horror and devastation we would unleash onto the world? What I did, what we did, my brother Hans, Christoph, Willi, Suzanne, and Kurt, was to stand up to the tyranny that had taken grip of the threat of our beloved Germany. The shame we felt had to be revealed, expressed. We had to report the crimes committed in Russia in the name of the German people. The mass shooting of Jews, the burning of villages, the barbarity of the war that Hitler proclaimed to be without rule is his bid to crush the Slavic subhumans. The German people were being hoodwinked. Someone, after all, had to make a start at resistance. What we wrote and said was also believed by many others. They just didn't dare express themselves as we did. They allowed themselves to be deceived by an evil madman and his cronies, driven into a frenzy of bloodshed and death. They had too much to lose. I admit I was afraid. More afraid than I'd ever been. Wouldn't you be? Herr Grunwald, my interrogator at the prison. You knew. You understood. Still, you let them do what they did to me. To us. But you soon found out that we would not be silenced, didn't you? And not just us, the White Rose, but over 60 million people, including our soldiers and fellow countrymen. So I ask you, Herr Grunwald, one of the countless pawns of the Gestapo, was it worth it? Did you make your mighty Führer proud? Adolf Hitler, the dictator of evil, and his cruel disciples, Goebbels, Bormann, Göring, Himmler. Was this their intention? Was this now their new Germany, its citizens beaten to submission by brutal bully boys and SS brown-shirt thugs? Unsere Fahne flattert uns voran. Our flag flutters above us. Anthem of the Hitler Youth. The song we sang at the youth rallies. In the beginning we all belonged. We sung proudly the endless virtues of the fatherland. We believed the lies to restore the nation to greatness. Unsere Fahne flattert uns voran. Unsere Fahne ist die neue Zeit. Und die Fahne führt uns in der Ewigkeit. Ja, die Fahne ist mehr als der Tod. Our flag flutters above us. Our flag is our new world. And our flag will bring us to eternity. Yes, our flag will conquer death. It was Hans's idea, the White Rose. It was taken from a novel he'd once read. He thought it a fitting name for his resistance groups. It represented innocence and purity. And on these two grand German virtues, the purity of the race, golden-haired, blue-eyed, just like my sweet Fritz stationed in the East, perfect specimen of the Nazi master race. Fritz and I often spoke of marriage someday when it was all over. Do you know, it was because of Fritz that I joined the Bund Deutsche Mädel, the German Girls' League, for him, to be as proud of me as I was of him. I was so patriotic, I was once promoted to squad leader. We loved the feelings of belonging. There were so many of us at the rallies. It wasn't a political thing for most of us. We girls just hung out, had fun, did tests of courage, took trips, all in a rustic setting that we loved. I felt alive in the camaraderie we shared, the responsibility of doing our part in helping Germany once more achieve greatness, fortune and prosperity. It was a very personal thing to me. I believed with all my heart, as did the other girls, that Adolf Hitler would not rest until every German citizen was free, independent and happy in his fatherland. We were willing to do all we could to contribute to this common cause, this lofty goal. We answered the call. It was this excitement, this almost mystical power that possessed us as we walked among thousands down the Reichsparteitagsgelände, shoulder by shoulder at the Nuremberg party ground, in closed ranks, heads held high, countless uniformed marching youth of the DBM, some of us carrying banners waving in the breeze, eyes fixed straight ahead, keeping time to the thunderous drumbeat that set the pace to the single moving unit. Da-da-dum, 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 dum-dum, 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 da-da-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. However, Father and his friends disapproved terribly from the start of the Nazi rise to power. You see, Fatih was a pacifist and an early critic of Hitler. He actually served prison in 1942 for having made a derogatory remark to a fellow employee, calling Adolf Hitler the scourge of God. Hitler and his fascist friends were a joke to them. A joke that had gone too far. My father was sentenced to 4 months in prison. In the evening, I would often go to the prison ground and sit beneath his barred window, play the flute, or hum one of our favorite songs, Die Gedanken sind frei, Your Thoughts Are Free. Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts freely flower. Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts give me power. No scholar can mop them, no hunter can trap them, no man can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei, no man can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. It was also in 1942 that my brother Hans witnessed firsthand the horror of the German defeat in Stalingrad, which they said later was the turning point of the war. As medical students at the university, Hans, Christoph, Alex and Willi were periodically called up to serve in the medical corps at the Eastern Front, where Germany was suffering terrible losses and defeats. There they experienced the atrocities, the barbarity of the war, both on the battlefield and against civilian populations. The army was ordered to advance at all costs despite inadequate provision in the dead of the merciless Russian winter. How they all froze and starved to death. All part of the grand deception of our leaders, leading us and the world to ruination. All part of Hitler's the great humiliation of Hitler, who then decided to hide the truth to the German people and perpetuate the lies of certain victory over the Soviets. Deutschland über alles, Deutschland über die Welt. Deutschland, Deutschland über alles in der Welt. You are burning now, aren't you? You irresponsible clique of sovereign madmen. All of you burning in hell where you belong for all eternity. A deserving end to an evil band of criminals and opportunists. Hitler, Mussolini, and Hirohito, among thousands of other criminals with similar crimes against humanity. The brutal torture and subsequent murder of men, women, and children. Babies still suckling on their mother's tits. How could you? You and your terrible dreams of world domination, based in a cesspool of hatred and violence, directed at all your so-called enemies, the Jews, the communists, the Allies, the cripples, the gypsies. The day of reckoning had come. But it was too late for Hans, Christoph, and myself. We were among the minions, victims of the war waged by Hitler and the Nazis. We were arrested and tried in a puppet's court unscrupulously called the People's Court. What was our crime? Distributing these 7 simple sheets of paper. But it's what is printed on them that sealed our fate. As written on the 3rd leaflet to the citizens of Germany. Why do you allow these men who are in power to rob you step by step of every domain of your right after another until one day nothing at all will be left but a mechanized state system presided over by criminals and drunks? Is your spirit already so crushed by abuse that you forget it is your right, or rather your moral duty, to eliminate the system? We boldly urge our fellow countrymen to resist the Nazis and renounce the National Socialist subhumanism, imperialism, and Prussian militarism for all time. We urge them to support the resistance movement in its struggle for freedom of speech and religion and the protection of the individual citizen against the arbitrary action of the criminal dictator state. At the Munich University, after Hans and I distributed the contraband sacks of leaflet on all the floors, we stood at the top floor of the main building looking down. We had leftover copies in the suitcase, and without a thought, I flung the last remaining copies down into the atrium on stairwells. That is how we were caught. Jacob Schmidt, the university maintenance man, saw us and turned us into the Gestapo, who then took us to Stadtheim prison. At first, I vehemently denied all knowledge and anything to do with it. But Hans had a draft of the 7th leaflet written by Christoph in his possession, which he tried unsuccessfully to shred and swallow. After that, I confessed to everything. I didn't hold back. I sat rigid, proud of what we had done. We had hoped that it would end with just us, but no, they rounded up everyone and anyone connected to our deeds. Good, decent people who helped fuel the resistance movement while constantly under the threat of being discovered. Some they imprisoned. Others they murdered. Hans und Susanne Herzl. Franz Josef Müller. Heinrich Gutter. Eugen Grimminger. Heinrich Bollinger. Falk Harnack. Helmut Bauer. Wilhelm Geier. Manfred Eickemeyer. So many. Do you know I was a kindergarten teacher? It was in the spring of 1940 at the Froebel Institute in Ulm. I was hoping it would be seen as an alternative to the Reichsarbeitsdienst, the National Labor Service, a prerequisite to be admitted to the university. But no, it wasn't to be. Instead, I was forced into the labor service, where I served 6 long months as a nursery teacher in Bloomberg. I loved the children, but hated the system and its militaristic regimen. It was there that I came to many decisions about the extreme political brainwashing of the people being perpetrated by our government. They rewrote the history books. Hitler proclaimed that the Germanic people were saviors descended from the God come to guide us out of so-called slavery to new heights of freedom. How can any civilization be so narcissistic? Are we, as a human race, forever fated, doomed to repeat the same mistakes as our forefathers? Led by madmen? Lied to? Deceived by those we put our trust in, and our lives in their bloody hands? If so, then pity us, God. Protect us from ourselves. So here we are. I have told you my story. What you do with it is up to you. Are we heroes, like some called us? Or just ordinary citizens standing up to tyranny? Will you stand up? When and if your time comes? Times change, but people don't. Would you be willing to risk your neck for what you feel is right? Dream the night before the trial. It was a sunny day. I was carrying a child in a long white dress to be christened. The path to the church led a steep slope. but I held the child firmly. But suddenly, a crevasse opened at my feet, gradually gaping wider and wider. I was able to put the child down safely before dropping into the abyss. The child represents our ideals. In spite of all obstacles, it will prevail. Had I lived, had we not been caught, guillotined, perhaps I would have found another way. Worked hard, strived to help remake the world. Or perhaps I would have married, had children, have a life with Fritz, whom I never did see again. I wonder, would he still have loved me, like he professed? Even though I was not like them, did not believe what they believed, did not look like them. I guess we will never know, will we?